The night was merciless. The kind that made the city seem colder than it had ever been, not just in temperature, but in spirit. Snow fell in silence, blanketing the streets in a hush that felt like the world had paused. Most people were indoors, safe behind warm walls and glowing windows. But at the edge of a quiet sidewalk near 82nd and Lexington, a young woman sat alone at a bus stop, hugging herself to stay alive. Her name was Emma Lewis. And she was invisible to the world. She had just finished a 14-hour shift at the hospital, the kind of shift where you watched lives slip away, held trembling hands of strangers, and smiled through exhaustion because there was no one else to do it. But tonight, her shift ended with the last bus disappearing into the snow. Her phone was dead. Her fingers numb. Her hope, fading fast. That's when the black Bentley stopped. The window rolled down. A man's voice called out, calm, steady, and commanding. "Get in. You're coming with me." Emma looked up slowly, barely registering the expensive suit, the chiseled jaw, the intense eyes softened by concern. She blinked, unsure if she was dreaming or hallucinating. "I'm not a charity case," she whispered. "I know," he replied. "That's not why I stopped." She hesitated, then stood. That one decision changed both their lives forever. His name was Adrian Blake. CEO of one of the most powerful medical tech companies in the world. He lived in a skyscraper that kissed the clouds. He flew private. Dined with world leaders. Had more money than time, more power than peace. But that night, he wasn't a billionaire. He was just a man who saw someone being forgotten, and couldn't look away. He took her home. Made her tea. Wrapped her in a blanket without asking questions. And for the first time in years, someone cared for Emma without needing anything in return. She tried to leave the next morning. Quietly. Without a trace. But he was waiting at the door. "Why did you help me?" she asked. He looked her straight in the eye and said, "Because once, I needed someone, and no one came." Days turned to weeks. Emma stayed, first because she had nowhere else to go. Then because Adrian didn't ask her to be anything she wasn't. He let her be tired. He let her be human. He watched her heal others without ever stopping to care for herself. She watched him command empires yet struggle with silence. Two people. Different worlds. Both broken in places they didn't show. And slowly, gently, they started putting each other back together. But love, especially the kind that's real, always comes with storms. The first storm came quietly. Emma overheard a conversation in the hallway, a board member warning Adrian that being seen with a lowly nurse could destroy investor confidence. "She's not a good look," the man said. Adrian replied, voice like steel, "Then maybe it's the mirror that's broken, not her." But Emma had heard enough. She packed her bag. She wasn't going to be someone's scandal. Not even his. She left without a word. Adrian searched for her for 3 days. When he finally found her, she was working extra shifts at a public clinic, sleeping on a coworker's couch. "You left," he said, rain falling around them. "You're better off without me," she said. "I'm not," he answered softly. "You made me remember who I used to be before I got lost in suits and shareholders." He held out his hand. "Come back with me, not to my penthouse, but to our life. One we build together." This time, she didn't say no. But the world wasn't done testing them. Months later, the hospital Emma had worked at for 6 years was shutting down. Underfunded. Forgotten. Dozens of patients displaced. Staff let go. Emma was heartbroken. So Adrian did what no one expected. He bought the entire hospital. But not to rename it after himself. He rebuilt it, with Emma as the soul of it all. She hired her own team. Built programs for low-income families. Created a wing for single mothers. A mental health center for nurses. A scholarship fund for aspiring caretakers. She had given everything to the world for years. Now, she was giving it on her own terms. And Adrian stood behind her, proud to be the man who followed her lead. Years passed. They didn't live in perfection. There were sleepless nights. Fights. Losses. Pressure. But through it all, they never forgot what brought them together. A freezing night. A broken girl. And a man who stopped everything just to say, "You're coming with me." Not because she was weak. But because he knew, even then, that she would one day be the strongest part of his life. The world judges love by appearances. But real love isn't loud or shiny. It's a warm blanket. A silent drive home. A hand held in the dark. And sometimes, it begins when someone dares to stop, and simply say, "You don't have to do this alone anymore."